The 1920s. When anyone thinks of the era, they think of flappers, good feelings, and most prominently, raging parties. But when looking closer at these parties, there is a backdrop of various kinds of criminal activity. The 20s party was never complete without a little booze, something illegal at the time. The 1920s was the era of Prohibition, and therefore an era of boosted crime in the U.S. Prohibition is banning anything and everything pertaining to alcohol, including production and consumption. Bars and saloons were abandoned and replaced with the illegal speakeasies, or blind pigs. With the average person left saddened without the occasional beer and not wanting to produce it themselves, criminals stepped in to meet their demands. Soon, however, a necessity for organization aroused as small criminals could not meet the demands of the drinking masses and profits were enormous. Enter the mob, the mafia, organized crime. Crime had now become somewhat of a business with its own bosses, lawyers, accountants, truckers, warehousemen, and of course, armed thugs. The mob was built around and came from bootlegging, or the illegal manufacture, distribution, and sale of goods, especially alcohol. To boost business, they founded and owned their illegal bars, known as speakeasies, mentioned earlier. All of this illegal activity was now the easiest way to make money in America, as mob bosses showed. Some of the most famous bosses are Al Scarface Capone, 7-year boss of the Chicago outfit, who ran about 6,000 speakeasies by 1930 and made more than $6 million a week, and Charles Lucky Luciano, ruthless leader of the New York Mafia, who later instituted the Commission, a board of crime bosses that met to discuss and settle disputes. The mob's impact on society was immeasurable. To profit and make the most money, the quality of alcohol produced by the mob was poor and caused many of their consumers to become sick. Deaths related to alcohol poisoning rose almost 400% in the 20s. The mob ultimately ended up making Prohibition more of a problem than a solution. Alcohol was more easily obtainable than it was before Prohibition. It was available on almost every street corner. This led to even more drunk driving and general public drunkenness. Considering all this, the mob helped lead the push in ending Prohibition in 1933, as it created more of a problem than it solved. With a now different focus, many mobs and organized crime families still exist in big cities today, but without Prohibition would not have been as powerful.